Hello again, everyone. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to my weekly podcast series called Encouragement for Your Life. Many of you know I'm a national speaker and trainer, and as a coach, I help people find their voice and learn to use it. Hey, I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking for adults, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. So if you or an organization you're a part of has an upcoming conference and you're looking for a keynote or breakout speaker, I hope you'll reach out at debsofield.com. I've got a great message this week. It's a little hard-hitting, but I think you can take it. And my theme is this. We've all been placed on this earth to discover our own path, and we'll never be happy if we live someone else's idea of our life. It's a great message. It's hard-hitting, but I think it's worthy for today. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for spending these next few minutes with me. Let's get started with today's show. So my theme today is something I am truly convinced we probably all need to talk about. And my theme is this, and it's the headline: we've all been placed on this earth to discover our path, and we will never be happy if we live someone else's idea of life. Now, I know that's heavy. Let's uncover it. I'm so glad you've joined me today. Recently, I was working with some clients and I had what I consider an epiphany, definition being a sudden realization, an intuitive leap of understanding. And it was this, is that we've all been placed on this earth really to discover our own path, and we will never be happy if we live someone else's idea of life. Now, I have a diverse client base, and I'm thrilled to work with so many amazing people who are making great strides in life to move down a path that they feel called. And there's great joy in seeing happiness, contentment, and peace when someone finds their right path, their calling, their life's work. And frankly, there's no greater joy than seeing someone settle gently in the path of their God-given talents and skills and abilities. And the fact is, there's another side that I see, and that's when someone is not following their dream, but the dream of someone else. And that makes for a pretty rough road, I have to admit. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not saying someone cannot grow to love the path they were told to follow. But from where I sit and coach and speak and counsel, I just find the idea of discovering your own path to be a much easier weight to carry for the rest of your life. And the reason I've come to believe this is because I truly believe that we have been placed on this earth to discover our path. And friends, you're not going to be as happy as I believe you could be if you spend your time living someone else's idea of what your life should be. I agree. At some point in life, you can grow into a little bit of happiness and survive the job you have. But I don't really encourage that because I really think life, well, it's to be lived and not just survived. I know that many parents and friends and bosses push people to fit the square peg into the round hole because that's what they think is needed or what fits with, quote, our family, or that's what our family does. I see this a lot as an interview coach. Kids applying to medical school, not because they want to be a doctor, but because it's what mom and dad wanted. And then we work on law school interviews because grandpa was a lawyer, so we have to go to law school to carry on the family name, or you're next in line in the family business. So buck it up, little one, and be happy because your last name is on the building. Don't worry, you'll learn to love it in time. Okay, now for some that's okay, until it's not. So for those who are listening today, would you consider letting your young person, your spouse, your partner, your friend, discover their own true path? It's always interesting to me when in midlife people up and change direction because they see the birthdays pass by and then the aches and pains kick up, or sad to say, friends pass away at a very young age. And it's a reminder for all of us that life is too short not to do what we dreamed of or would love to at least try and make a go of it. Now listen, we all know people who have done this and ended up with crazy results. All right, so please, this is not for you to do something not well thought out. Don't leave your spouse. And if you want to buy a motorcycle and drive cross country, good luck with that in this weather. And if you're thinking about joining a rock band at this age, you might want to think again. Or if you decide you should hike the Appalachian Trail. Okay, so wherever you find yourself, I got to tell you, Sometimes your crazy idea in the moment is not a good idea. All right, so hear me. I'm not talking about being foolish. I am encouraging you to consider starting today what steps would lead you down your own path, your path to happiness, not someone else's idea of what life should be like or look like. Now, listen, I have to be careful here, and I know it because some of you listening are so exhausted with your current life that you are willing, ready, and able to go do something crazy. So I don't want you to jump the gun and make a poor decision that would end up costing you. Here's what I really want. I'd like for you to consider finding your tribe, sitting down with them, and share openly and honestly ideas of things that you've dreamed about. What I've found in my own life and then with my friends, when we feel safe to say maybe what business we've always wanted to open, then it's interesting how doors open and you can either get a glimpse because they have a friend who's in that business, or perhaps there's an opportunity somewhere that you could start small and then let it grow. I've also encouraged young people when they go to their parents and say, I really don't want to go to college right away. In that gap year, I'd like to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, write a plan so your parents realize that you're not going to blow your inheritance at the beach. When people can show that they've thought it through, hey, listen, it may not be perfect, but at least it was thought out and understanding that pitfalls could occur. See, here's probably the biggest point. You just have to have the courage to dream. I know people say that all the time and you're like, I'm too old to be dreaming, Deb. Actually, you're not. I believe at any point in your life. And when I say that is that I just have a friend I recently saw on Facebook who's doing a mission trip for the first time in her life, and she's in her 70s. Why? Because she always wanted to, but never had the opportunity when she worked 9 to 5. See, she had the courage to dream, and she planned and worked, and now she's going to have time of her life. I think it's important that we stop and try to figure out our own path. Let our young people find a path. And for those of you who are lucky enough to have one special person or a group of friends who believe in you and trust that you'll be careful with the plan that's been agreed upon, I think you should get started today. There's a Jack Kornfield quote that you'll see a lot on the internet. It goes something like this: "The trouble is, you think you have time." So let me back up a bit. Do you remember when you were just starting out? Can you think that far back with me? What were some of the things you had hoped to do? Okay, now don't let your left brain kick in right now. Just go with the flow for just a minute with me, okay? Just think of a few things you had hoped to do before what I call the 3 M's, marriage, mortgage, and munchkins, or after the 3 M's. What path did you start down that had potential for great happiness and success as you see success? Remember, I'm not worried about the life others have for you right now in this quick exercise we're doing. If it was a good path back then and you have the ability to continue and or you're doing your life's work now, that is fantastic. If on the other hand, you didn't follow your dream, what can you do today to make small movements in that direction with the blessing of those you care for? Listen, I am fully aware that by now in life, most of you are in a job with gold handcuffs. You have families, you've got responsibilities, and you frankly just can't turn the ship very easy. But what I found in my work is if you have I'm going to use the word smidgen of an entrepreneurial spirit and attitude, you can incorporate some of that dream and hope and desire into your current path, your heart's desire, your dream into a reality. And at this point, don't worry about what others have in mind for you, because listen, many well-meaning people do not have a clue of who you are or what you're made of or where you're going. But I believe that you still do. And I think it's that spark that I'm hoping will smolder into a fire. See, I see success in small steps happen every single day with my clients. Quick story, when I was younger, my parents thought I'd be really good at real estate because they knew I wanted to work for myself, have my own hours, set my own pace, and have a job that challenged me. So I dutifully signed up for real estate school. And although I had a great time in class because I enjoyed learning new things, once I passed my exam, I was quickly picked up with a company and put on the street looking for buyers and sellers. Remember, this was a long time ago. It was obvious to me early on I was not cut out to show houses. because frankly, I really didn't like going into empty houses, and I had no interest looking in closets or attics or garages or anything under anything. Now, that's a problem if one plans to be a real estate agent. And I'll never forget, I had a favorite client. Let's call her Doretha, and she was the one woman who ended my housing career because I really liked her and I wanted the right home for her. And the one that she found and showed me that she liked well enough had been wrecked on the inside. I just couldn't see her and the kids in this messed up house. And what happened is the previous owner had pulled out the gas fireplace and left it a mess. So I encouraged her to look for another house in the same area if she was so inclined. And somewhere in my conversation with my broker, he was very unhappy that I just didn't sell the one she wanted. Signed, sealed, delivered, so we could all get paid and go home. It was then I decided that I don't like all these rules around selling houses. I like selling land. It's more my personality to walk an acre than to waste my time discussing where you would put your washer and dryer. Now listen, without a doubt, my parents meant well when they strongly suggested real estate. But in reality, and frankly in short order, even they could see it was not my cup of coffee. So as we say in baseball, no harm, no foul, and I found my way to my next grand adventure. Listen, I know I'm lucky, no doubt about it. Directions were provided and offered, but no harm came to my career in real estate. I think instinctively, we all know when we're, in a sense, pushed to live someone else's idea of life, even if it's with good intention and not by force. But what I see so often is the reality that many people are living someone else's dream, and their dream slowly dies and smolders in ashes until a breeze comes along and might stir up the embers to relight the fire. I trust that's what I've done for you today. A simple breeze to remind you of what you wanted to do before you were told what to do. Because if we believe that we've all been placed on this earth to discover our own path, and friends, we'll never be happy if we live someone else's idea of life, I think it's time we dust off the map, pull out the GPS, load up the car, get started down the road for your discovery. I gotta tell you, when I think about this theme, I just like it. I like it because it is so true. And I got this great quote from Steve Jobs who says this: "For the past 33 years, I looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something." Great quote, Steve Jobs. Maria Robinson has my last quote for this section. "Nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending." I'm Deb Sofield. You're listening to Encouragement for Your Life. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after the break. Hi friends, Deb Sofield here. I'm a national speaker and an executive speech and presentations coach. I've been in the battlefield of politics and business for over 30 years. I know and understand how the game works. In today's marketplace, you don't have a choice. We're in the media age of Twitter, blogs, Facebook, and 24-hour news cycles. Either you move quickly and decisively to define your product, your company, or yourself, or others will define you. You can't afford to miss the mark because the public won't give you a second chance and the media is unforgiving, and YouTube will replay your remarks until you've been ground into dust. Whether it's crafting your message to protect you or your company, or putting you on camera to answer the questions that will resonate with reporters and the public, or preparing you for an interview, let me help you be successful. I'm Deb Sofield. Find me online at debsofield.com. That's debsofield.com. Hey, thanks for staying with me. I've got to throw those commercials in every once in a while. Hey, by the way, I've got a terrific book series out. You can buy them on Amazon.com called Encouragement for Your Life. And that's where all these stories have been taken from. For years, I had a radio show here, and folks would say, "Man, I just wish I could read it again." Well, now you can. Just look up my name on Amazon, Deb Sofield, and all my books will appear. Okay, so as I was continuing with my theme today, because I got to tell you, this quote from James Van Praagh, which is, "We've all been placed on this earth to discover our own path, and we'll never be happy if we live someone else's idea of life." That's a pretty deep theme when you think about it, and especially in a world where everybody's kind of alike and they don't want anybody to go too far off the rails. Well, sometimes if you're going to find your way in life, you need to choose a direction without wasting a lot of time. I came across a really great article online, and I'm going to slaughter this guy's name. I think it's Aoja Asaki, and it was called 10 Useful Ways to Choose the Right Direction in Life. And I love this opening line, which is, after you finish reading this post, you'll be 5 minutes closer to your death. Oh, hopefully what you read or what I'm sharing with you is worth your time. I believe it is, but doesn't it put that in perspective? Here we go. Time stands at the center of your life. You never feel like you have enough of it. You want to make the right choices for your future, but you're worried about wasting it. You want to find the right direction before time runs out. Most of you are motivated and ambitious. You want to find the right path and make the right decisions when it comes to your future. But there's the possibility that you'll spend months or years pursuing something that you might not like or not be worth your time and effort. So, how do you narrow down all these decisions and start taking action in a world with endless possibilities? The fact is, there's no clear-cut answer to that question, but here are some ways to put you in the right direction, or at least maybe send you down a path. So let me share some ideas and exercises to help you fine-tune your success compass and head down the direction of your dream. So the author goes on to say, here's number 1, start with what you hate. Your friendly neighborhood success guru will tell you to find something you love to do and pursue your passion. How about using the process of elimination instead? What do you hate? What type of life or career do you definitely not want to go down? You think people would consider this before choosing a career, but it doesn't always work out that way. Here's a fact. If you don't like structure and discipline, don't work for a company with strict guidelines. If you don't want to sit behind a cubicle for hours on end, find another way or another place to work, maybe from home. Next point is figure out if you're a B or a C player. Social media marketing expert Gary Vaynerchuk believes we need to be ruthlessly self-auditing and stop kidding ourselves about who we are. The fact is, some people aren't meant to be entrepreneurs or startup founders. Some people are better suited at other positions within organizations. It's common for companies to promote people to the point of incompetence. It takes humility to have a high level of self-awareness and realize certain jobs, they're just not for you. Next point is go outside and look at the stars at night. Drive out to the country at night and spend some time looking at the stars. And while you're looking at them, think about the vastness of the universe. Opportunities are everywhere. I know you're focused on one or two small things, but as you look up at the sky and you see God's handiwork and you see the stars, realize opportunities are in other places. You've just got to find them. I think it's a great remembrance. Go outside, look at the stars, and realize that opportunity is everywhere. His next point is use a 90-day sprint. Business guru and marketing expert Peter Drucker planned his life out in 18-month increments. He would write down his vision for where he wanted to be 18 months from now. And then he'd compare what actually happened with his plan, and then he'd get some feedback. So listen, if you're worried about wasting too much time, just break it down and see if you can reach your goals. That time frame, whether it's 90 days, 100 days, 120 days, it will give you enough room to explore without wasting too much time. Next point is one that I think a lot of people would agree with. Interview people who were already doing what you'd like to do. See what it's really like. You could have a conversation with somebody who has a job similar to what you would like. Ask the right questions. Ask about the struggles. Ask how they knew that path was right for them. And then if they were you, what would be some of the starting points? There's a writer named Jeff Groins, and I got to tell you, I like him. I've read a lot of his stuff, and he has an exercise that he does. It's a worldview statement to help you shape your perception on the world and provide guidance on the direction that perhaps you should head. And it goes like this. All blank should blank. My worldview is all people should build a life around their natural talents and strengths. This is the author. He said it helped him guide himself in a direction to share knowledge on personal development with other people. So that was the thing. All blank should blank. So you fill in. And the author, like I said, all people should build a life around their natural talents and strengths. I like that. Next point is think. I mean, listen, you're thinking anyway, but sometimes it's distracted, unfocused thinking. Some of you seriously need to block out some time to simply think. Thinking can lead to some pretty amazing discoveries. It's been said that Bill Gates goes on a 2-week retreat every year to just think. Now, frankly, I don't have time to go away for 2 weeks, but 30 minutes just to be alone with your thoughts, to work through choices that you might like to make for your future, include those who love you in this conversation. The next point is the regret test. You can use regret to determine if you should head in a certain direction. Look at the end of your life. If you don't pursue what you're thinking about, will you ultimately regret it when it's all said and done? Now, there's a second part to that test. Again, look at the end of your life. If you tried things and it didn't work out, would you feel at peace knowing that you at least gave it a shot, your best try, your 100%? Now, if you can answer yes to both of those questions, you're probably on the right track. Author says he has an airport test. I learned this technique while listening to a podcast with Pat Flynn. Here's how the airport test works. Imagine it's 5 years from now when you run into an old friend. Your friend says, "Hey, how are you doing? What you been up to?" Given that you've spent the past 5 years building your dream life, what would be your response? He says the airport test takes a boring 5-year plan and makes it a whole lot more interesting. And then his next point is move directly in the direction of fear and self-doubt. Fear and self-doubt get a bad rap. If you're pursuing something that doesn't scare you, you're probably not doing something worth your time. See, the more you feel like an imposter, the more you feel terrified, the more you doubt yourself, more likely you're on a good track. See, you don't need to conquer fear. You can build a relationship with it. Your fear will fuel you. The action you take will create larger challenges in the future, and you'll be more terrified of those challenges, yet you will probably succeed. See, the cycle will continue over and over until fear becomes your friend, realizing that you need each other. Fear is there to remind you to stretch yourself. The driving into the thrill of uncertainty will make you feel more alive. You'll feel like you are fear's sparring partner, and you're going to kick him every chance you get. Being comfortable, stable, certain, and probably boring might feel good for a while, but at a certain point, I'm worried that a wave of regret will wash down on you, and you'll drown in it and sink deeper each day until you're unable to make it back to the surface. Unfortunately, a lot of folks we know end up that way, but a few will learn to move in tandem with fear and fight it every day. So don't be someone on a fence who reads, posts, or listens to radio shows like this because you really want to make a move. The fact is, if you don't, then you are harming your future. We really need more people to step up, more people to make a move, more people to move in the direction of their dreams. That was an edited article called 10 Useful Ways to Choose the Right Direction in Life Without Wasting a Bunch of Time. I did like that. I've got another one I'm going to close out with, and it's 4 lessons on how to find the right direction by Bob Miglani. And they're pretty quick, so let me go through them. Number 1, stop overthinking. So much of our stress and anxiety about the future stems from all the analysis and thinking we do as adults. The reality is, no matter how smart we may be, we cannot predict the future. By recognizing and accepting the unpredictable nature of life, we can stop overthinking and overanalyzing, and perhaps start living more in the present moment. It also helps open up the mind to the possibilities of the day. Number 2, try anything, do something. When you take action and start doing things, you begin to feel better almost immediately. Because instead of thinking about some far-off place in your head full of uncertainty, you'll be working on something that is really certain, your actions. See, so many times I think we get caught up in the chaos of life and then it consumes us, and then you realize you really can't control what happens tomorrow, but you can take action every single day. But friends, you got to do something. Number 3, follow your inner voice. I used to feel that if I just knew more, I would be better at making decisions about the direction I wanted to take in life. So I took chances. I took small steps walking forward in the dark. I stumbled, fell, but got back up, and I went in a different direction. And again, and again, and again. And as they say, the first step was the hardest, but I eventually found my way. Not because of some data point on a career chart showed me the way, but because I trusted my inner voice. His final point is this: our friend, believe in yourself. No longer suppressed by someone else's idea of the way things ought to be. Find new paths. Focus and listen to your voice and the voice of encouraging friends, and then learn to believe in yourself. For some, finding the right direction may take a journey of a lifetime, but I believe there's one direction we are all meant to go, and that's forward. I enjoyed that article, and I hope you did too. Folks, you've been listening to Encouragement for Your Life. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate the time you take every Saturday to be a part of my family, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place, right here on this great station. Have a good one, everybody.